It's time for another round of leaks for another new Pokemon game, as not even the Crown Tundra could freeze this faucet. From data mines to people's unemployed uncles, there are many leaks to be shown today that give a lot of information on the new expansion coming in under a week. While Game Freak might have tried to keep these under wrap and hidden from the public, we've dug deep into the dimly lit parts of the internet to bring all this new information directly to you. I did one Google search. Let's get right into it with the 5 Crown Tundra leaks for the Sword and Shield expansion. The first leak we have for you today comes from the most socially conscious website known as Twitter. Some items that are supposed to be in the new Sword and Shield expansion have been leaked and reveal some interesting information that'll make the DLC a little more interesting. First, we have the Galarian Slowking evolution item, which makes sense as you need an item for Galarian Slowbro as well. But more unknown is the Armbright Ore equivalent, which could mean more moves to give to your Pokemon that weren't able to be taught before, and the Hidden Ability Capsule, which will help you get those secret abilities that your Pokemon have been hiding from you into the spotlight. Not so hidden now that there's an item to show it off, Darmanitan. The most important information leaked here, however, is the Calyrex fusion related items. There's a fusion item and a separate item. Seeing as it's only a few days before the release of the DLC, it's pretty interesting to see these items as there hasn't been anything shown in the trailers displaying Calyrex as having multiple forms yet. Maybe it'll be a little rabbit without the frozen pea on its head, and the fusion form will be it fusing with the Swadloon like that's its Shellder. You never see Swadloon in the spotlight, give it anything. With the first DLC, they did show Urshifu's multiple forms, so seeing the 2 huge items be leaked makes the Crown Tundra a lot more exciting and hopefully add a little more to the games than the small amount that the Isle of Armor had. It's also interesting as this was kept hidden and probably shows how much more to the story there will be for Calyrex and possibly events that lead you to learning about its multiple forms. Next up, we have a map of the Crown Tundra being leaked. This one leak gets me a little more excited for the Crown Tundra as this is a huge massive land. This must be what it feels like when a business tycoon sees a bunch of closed down stores in a strip mall because now there's a good amount of cheap land to build another 25-story condominium in the sea of 50 already built condos there. With all this free real estate shown to us, there must be a lot going on here. You have a lot of locations to fly to, which means there'll be a lot of land to traverse through on bike. And with that many locations, as well as 3 groups of legendary Pokemon, there are countless stories and quests to go on. There'll also be a lot of areas for max raids, so that's a bonus, but seeing how big this is makes me really happy as I was hoping the Crown Tundra would have a lot more to it than what the Isle of Armor had, and would take a lot longer to complete and go through to capture the cool new Pokemon and interact with main characters like Peony. Following that, we have the Pokemon that are confirmed to return to the new expansion. We have seen a lot of this, and maybe someday there will be a top 100 Pokemon return to Pokemon video, but for now, we get to see that not only are the legendaries coming back, like confirmed in the trailers, but Pokemon like Garchomp, the Nidos, and even the Ultra Beasts will be making their return in this game. The Ultra Beasts really make things a lot more interesting, as in the next leak, something even more exciting is shown that confirms and adds to this, but also the fact that these Pokemon have such a unique grouping from the rest of the Pokemon in any generation that it would be interesting to see how they are implemented this time in a DLC version that could be spiced up to really give them a triumphant return from how they were introduced in Generation 7. This next one is probably my favorite leak out of all of them, as it looks like there are chapters in the DLC with these titles being leaked. What makes these super alluring to me is the fact that anytime there are introduction scenes, it means there must be a lot going on. You can't just take 3 steps and go, oh, it's a cutscene, this isn't black and white. But even if it was, having titles show up on your screen like chapter introductions in Paper Mario means there has to be a lot of content to be completed in every section. There's also 4 titles shown here, a legendary tree of a legendary 3, the terrible titans lurking locked away, they came from the Ultra Beyond, and the sacred bonds of Sovereign and Steed. Each one also has a main premise which hopefully adds a lot of content into each chapter and adds some difficulty to each trial for you to get through so you can get to the next one. Seeing as each one has a main group from the roster of new legendaries and the Ultra Beast, there's no way this can't at least feel like an adventure. The Legendary 3 chapter makes sense, as it was shown that you could be following a Galarian Articuno in the trailer, and might have to go on a journey with each one to try and finish this quest. There is also that one scene where every bird fights each other in front of a tree, so this could be a great introductory chapter with some playful birds all getting into a fight that you need to save and complete trials for. The Terrible Titans sounds really eerie, as they do look to have a lot of uncontrolled powers and are technically Pokemon kept hidden away from everyone for about 5 generations. So this could be a more dark chapter, where you need to locate them in their locked temples, and hopefully finish a bunch of tasks that go even further than the Relicanth Wailord Braille days. The Ultra Beyond chapter is really interesting as well, because it means the Ultra Beast will be making a triumphant return than just being thrown into max raid dens. There could be a lot going on here where you need to go into an Ultra Wormhole and be given loads of new technology, maybe even meet characters you met from Generation 7 and go in to capture each one. Hopefully it doesn't just end up being a new Ultra Wormhole max raid den every month, but instead has a more fruitful story that creates a bond between Generation 8 and 7 that we haven't seen too much about. Maybe this could also mean a new Ultra Beast that they've hidden away. The chapter after that is the Sacred Bonds of Sovereign and Seed, which should be Calyrex's chapter, as the rest of them have clear Pokemon they're focusing on, and Calyrex looks very sovereign and posh. It also says Steed, and Peony kinda sounds like Pony, and he looks to be obsessed with tracking down this legendary Pokemon, so there's no way this isn't about him. I really hope Petey is brought in throughout each chapter and guides you just a little bit. Even if he turns out to be evil in the final chapter, at least let's have some camaraderie along the way. And maybe even the Steed could be a new hidden legendary trio of horses that abide by Calyrex. It'd be great to see a new non-regional form change trio as well, and the title could be interpreted a little bit more, but this is great to see and makes me think it has to be a much longer game and feel like a full adventure. Hopefully we see each new legendary Pokemon and the Ultra Beasts have new information and new scenes that'll bring even more hype to each one. The final leak to finish off this video comes from our favorite site, because how could we have a leak video without another green board post? I played the Crown Tundra beta. It says, I played the Crown Tundra beta as its intro. Well, that's believable. Many little things to take note of here. Calyrex has 2 different fusion forms, which as we've seen from the items does seem to be true. But the items were revealed months before this post was made, and this post was made a day after my birthday, but there's no way I can be lied to 2 days in a row here. They do say they played Shield and got the White Horse version of Calyrex, and it looks like the most holy horse ever. This could make sense for the title Steed, the Calyrex's forms are more horse-like. It'd be a weird form, but I mean sure Game Freak, if you want to turn a rabbit into a horse, by all means go for it. They do also say 2 new Gigantamax forms, which are the Regis. Regidraco looks to be a big skeleton of a Charizard, and Regieleki is pretty much the same but bigger. Now I want to focus on the key point here where they put in brackets obviously. Obviously. Which, having that sort of confidence to put that in there must make this true, and this post has to be real. You know, even things like them saying the summary of the story and the new Pokemon are just alright, nothing revolutionary. That sounds exactly like Pokemon, so I don't know how anyone could not believe Galarian Slowbro's post. All in all, these leaks look to bring in a much better DLC than the Isle of Armor, and looks to have a more quest and story-based focus as opposed to the dojo trials in the first one. So I hope you'll all enjoy it, and stay tuned, and please subscribe for more Crown Tundra content here on the channel.